They said it was a panic attack because the blood and neurological work came back negative. The purpose of this video is to explore Tony Soprano's panic attacks, analyze their impact on Tony and the series as a whole.
Mom, Daddy just fell! Mom! Yeah.
The panic attack that Tony has in the pilot is the first one that we see.
At first it felt like ginger ale in my skull.
And it's in this episode that Tony begins his therapy with Dr. Melfi after realizing that he needs help. This attack reflects his fear that he's going to lose his family, like he lost the ducks. He says that feeling of dread is always with him. Tony has a near panic attack in 46 long while packing up his mother's stuff for Green Grove, but he sits down in time before totally blacking out.
Improvement.
Because I'm sad to put my mother away?
Sad is good. Unconscious isn't.
When she says sad is good, unconscious isn't, what she means is it's healthier to sit and feel the uncomfortable emotions, even if they're unpleasant, rather than trying to keep them locked away below the surface and having them appear on their own time, resulting in panic attacks that make him pass out, particularly in dangerous situations. In Guy walks into a psychiatrist's office. Dr. Melfi is still living and working out of a motel after going on the lam in the season 1 finale when Tony thought she might have been in danger. He calls her and tells her it's safe to go home now, but that doesn't mean she's happy. When Tony has a panic attack while driving, he knows it's time to go back to therapy. But Dr. Melfi isn't willing to take him back just yet. In Toodaloo, Dr. Melfi has a dream of Tony having a panic attack, also while driving. This is after she sees him at the restaurant, and before that, she had told him to get out of her life and that she wasn't going to see him as a patient anymore. This dream is something that I think impacts her and her decision a couple episodes later to take Tony back as a patient for therapy.
Gunny blow? After 5 years, the cops are finally leaving garbage alone. A drug bust on one of those routes, it's a different story.
What is the big deal?
It stops today. You got it?
Tony finds out that Richie's dealing coke on the garbage routes, which could be a major legal liability for them if something goes wrong and the DEA gets involved. Tony knows that whatever he says to Richie is going to go in one ear and out the other, just like it did when he told Richie that he was the motherfucking one who called the shots, and that Richie was going to respect him and not cause more trouble.
Preliminary, but as far as I can tell, it's nothing...
Nothing physical, right? Now, for Christ's sake, I just passed out.
It makes me think of when Christopher says, maybe I have cancer. Something horrible is happening inside my body, because he's unable or unwilling to accept the idea that it might be his mental health that's worth further examining.
Richie, this is a great school district.
Well, you all right?
I gotta go.
This scene really emphasizes Tony's fear of Richie joining the family and his inability to control him.
Oh my God. Tony! Tony!
This is not one of Tony's finer moments. Perhaps Noah really did punch his lights out, and that's what that cut to black was. In Fortunate Son, we get a flashback of a younger Tony when he has his first panic attack. We got to the root of something.
The lady loves her meat.
It leads to a big realization on his part. Seeing the meat, the gabagool, which triggered him to pass out, reminded him of his very first panic attack way back in the day and how it was connected to meat and what meat really signified.
The thought that someday you might be called upon to bring home the bacon, like your father.
I always wanted a house by the ocean. Maybe in another life.
Oh.
Not surprisingly, this most wonderful time of year can also come with a whole lot of agita. Also not surprising is when Tony and Dr. Melfi hit a wall after he brings up his old friend. Not Booty, the other one.
Let's do the drill. The attack, what preceded it?
Started thinking about this thing that happened years ago.
Tell me about it.
I can't.
I see.
When it comes to the past, it's much easier for Tony to open up to Dr. Melfi, so they are able to reach some breakthroughs from this. But when it comes to his more recent past, not so much. Even though technically speaking, it's in the past, so it's not like something that Dr. Melfi would have to report. Now, if he told Dr. Melfi, I just found out my friend was a rat, I'm going to kill him, now that would be a different story. In the end, Dr. Melfi eventually gets the point.
We're at one of our favorite junctures.
Here in All Happy Families, Tony and Carmela are currently separated. Tony's also dealing with Feech, still trying to process and deal with his guilt over Tony B, the Lupertazzi family infighting and bloodshed that started.
What's the matter?
Oh.
Is this one of your attacks?
No, I think it's just indigestion.
No love golf. It was Joey Peeps.
Whoa, what's wrong? You all right?
This panic attack occurs during a period of intense stress with pressure from both families, the one on the street and the one at home. Joey Peeps had just been killed in the prior episode by Tony B. And Tony and Johnny Sack are golfing, and not surprisingly, Joey Peeps' name comes up. When Tony asks Johnny if they have any leads,
Anything from your cop?
Some homeless fuck saw a guy limping away. And then he wasn't sure.
Whoa, what's wrong? You all right? Is it his heart?
and guess who has a limp right now, which Tony is well aware of? Tony B. But Tony feels so guilty over his panic attack that happened a long time ago, on the night that he was supposed to meet up with Tony B, when Tony B got caught. It's another pivotal moment in Tony's ongoing struggles with power, control, and his emotions. It's just this big web and tangle of emotions.
I had another panic attack. And I thought I had the shit beat. And look, the reason he went to prison is he got pinched hijacking a truckload of Betamaxes in '86. And I was supposed to be there the night of the jacking. All right, the night he got pinched, I had a fucking panic attack, all right?
So here we've got some multi-level panic attack stuff going on. Tony's in therapy to talk about a panic attack he had recently on the golf course. He looks like he's about to have a panic attack while telling Dr. Melfi about his panic attack on the golf course. They get deeper into conversation about his cousin with the foot, which leads to Tony eventually admitting that his guilt over Tony Uncle Al is from having a panic attack the night they planned to do a hijacking together, where Tony didn't show up because of the panic attack, and Tony Uncle Al took the fall.
Tony! Daddy! AJ, get him a chair!
Conspiracy theories now? Well, for what it's worth, this could have been a panic attack too.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's hot. I gotta go.
What's the matter?
Nothing, just, I feel hot.
Here we are in Made in America. Of course, this is very much a hypothetical and not something I'd be able to prove, but for what it's worth, the cut to black could also be a panic attack, right? I think this is the first time they're out together as a family since leaving the safe house. There's a lot of tension in the air. Tony thinks there's an 80 to 90% chance he's going to be indicted due to one of his guys flipping. Not to mention his son AJ's recent mental health crisis. When Carmela says that Meadow's coming separately from the doctor, she went to switch birth control. Maybe Tony thought back to their college trip with Meadow when she made the comment that,
This one girl told me there's a saying, Bates is the world's most expensive form of contraception.
Hey.
his ducks are getting even older now. To wrap up, Tony's panic attacks function as a window into his emotional and psychological state throughout the series. It humanizes Tony. It shows that even a powerful mob boss can struggle with mental health. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.